And we're back.
And we are, yes. I'm sorry about that again, everyone. Kitchen Talk, we're back with Todd Thomas. He was on step 2 of his 5-step process. And so we're just going to continue like nothing happened, okay? So stay with us here. Okay.
All right, so the step 2 is the separating from our thoughts.
Right.
Or what I call in my book, and there's a specific chapter, there's a lot about in this, about that, chapter 4.
Okay.
And then step 3 is, so we go from disconnecting to connecting.
To connecting.
Connecting is all about connecting with our values. The things that are most important to us. Now, a lot of people will talk about goals and make this about goals, and I believe in goals. We're created as goal-seeking creatures.
Right.
But I believe that values trump goals, or maybe should kind of come first, because a goal is something that you would check off a list eventually. A value is something you never check off the list.
Something that you live by.
That's correct.
Right.
And I'll pull this out of my wallet. I wrote down my top 6 values, and I have them on an index card, and I carry them in my wallet.
That's unique.
And I pull them out from time to time just so I can remind myself, all right, Todd, these are your top values. You know, connecting with people, contributing. To be contributing in a greater way, making a difference, being significant, encouragement, being an encourager, being inspiring, living with gratitude. You know, that's some of them. And so I get these out from time to time just to remind myself what my top values are.
Okay, now see, when you came through the door, I told you, I said, I really want to finish reading this so I can use some of these with my school. I've got to take that one. I've got to take that. As young people, as an educator of young people, it's very hard to continually keep them motivated and focused to want to learn.
Right.
They come to school with regret. They come to school already dreading, I have to sit here and learn something instead of, and it's totally understandable to some point. They don't see the value in learning and education right now because they are so young. So they're like, I've still got, I'm not going to do anything until I'm 27.
Right, have time.
I'm going to live with my mother for the rest of my life. I'll end up taking care of my mother. But they don't understand that 10 years goes by really quick and you turn from 12 to 22 that quickly. But that I'm going to have to take. Is that okay?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Values. I do know that when I used to be a minister. And as a minister, one of the things we used to always talk about is projecting the image of a minister where we go. So having those values, and I'm glad you explained to us the difference between goals and values, because I think a lot of people misunderstand that, and I know for a period of time I did as well. I was listening to Zig Ziglar just recently in anticipation of you, because I figured you were going to bring him up. So I wanted to brush back up on him and Tony Robbins. And I was listening to Zig Ziglar, and that was one of the main points that he brought up often, was having goals. Setting goals in order to accomplish something, because when you don't set your goals, you really basically just go out every day, just really...
You're aimless.
You're aimless, exactly. So there is no purpose in your day, so how can you ever get better at doing what you're doing? Values, I now see as being something even better than that, because like you said, you carry them all throughout your life. Absolutely.
See, I do believe they're better than that. And here's the thing about values is that in any moment, you can recognize that, you know what, I'm not living by my values. I'm not living by, say, this particular value. I just got upset with somebody on the road and made an unfriendly gesture or something like that. And in that next moment, I can go, that's not in line with my values. And I can immediately realign myself. I can forgive myself for that and then realign myself with my values and smile and wave at the next person. So at any moment, you can be right and back in line with your values. You can make that. But on the other hand, at any moment, you can't take a goal off the list, especially if it's a big one. It may be way down the road. So that's why I think having that values kind of trumps goals in a way, in that way that your goals are based on your values. They're going to reflect what your values are. But living by your values every day is.
When you first wrote those values and stick them in your wallet, did you go back at any particular point in time and say over the next 24 months and change any of those values? Did any of those values change?
These, since I got to this card, they've pretty much stayed.
Okay.
But if you'll notice, there are some other, there are some other ones in there that preceded that.
It's got 2 other sets of cards in there.
that preceded that.
So they did change.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They did change.
Yeah, your values can change. Sure. And it's okay for them to change
right.
From time to time.
So did they change because you were in this growing, how can we say, this shift, this growing shift, probably in the making of the book as well as changing throughout the career? Sure. Okay.
That can happen for all of us when you do something, you start something, and say a new project, and you realize, man, like me, discovering I really love the mental part.
Right.
I love teaching that.
Right.
And so that became a higher value to me than teaching them how to actually stream it.
Right. So did that improve your confidence as well? Because you're teaching confidence to others. What did that do for your individual confidence?
Well, for me personally, I've found that it's really helped. When I know what my values are, and then I can at any moment get in line with those. If I catch myself, we don't live up to our values at every moment.
Right,
and
of course.
We all fall, we all trip up, make mistakes. Even maybe a day goes by or two, and you might realize, oh man, I've gotten off track here. But if you stay close, if you hold them close and review them from time to time, like I do, then you can snap back into those and get in line with those values. Good. And that has helped me for sure.
Good, good.
It's helped me in my confidence.
I know I took you all the way off of your
so that was
step. That was step 3. Okay.
Step 4. Excuse me. Step 4 is now we're getting to fear. It can apply to any emotion. Really. Yeah, I'm gonna take a sip.
I'm pausing for a break.
Quick sip. It can apply to any emotion, but fear is a big one. It's a one that stops a lot of people only because they let it. I do bust some myths about fear. I talk about that a lot. A lot of people say fear is a sign of weakness. No, it's not. Fear is what holds you back. No, it's not. It's not fear that holds you back. It's your attitude towards fear. So what we do in step 4 is we start learning how, while step 2 was dealing with our thoughts, now step 4 start dealing with the feelings. And that's harder, actually, than the thoughts. The thoughts are easier. Once you get good at that, it actually makes the dealing with the feelings easier. And so, step 4 is we start working on fear, how to subdue it, how to live with it. You don't fight it because it's our fight or flight response. It's there for a reason. Fear has come to your rescue throughout your life. You know that, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's probably saved your life many times.
It has.
It saved my life.
I ran.
Exactly. You know?
Literally ran.
And so, but in our society and in pop culture and all this kind of stuff, movies, we see James Bond, Jason Bourne, Captain America, Tony Stark. They're all fearless, right? Guess what? They're also fictitious.
That's true.
Yeah, they don't feel fear. Yeah, because they're fictitious characters. We all feel it. And you have to learn how to, what I say, allow it, befriend it, and then channel it. That's what professional athletes do a lot of times, is they'll talk about being pumped and amped and jazzed. You know, that really is the fight or flight response. It's the nervousness. It's fear.
I never looked at
just
it
in
that
a different
way,
way.
Yeah.
But what they do is they use it to channel it into their performance, to make themselves better. I get on stages. I was in a public speaking competition a number of months ago, and I won at like 4 different levels. Yet, as good as I am, every time before I stepped on stage, I was nervous. I was scared. Why? I'm good at it. I would still have those thoughts. Oh, I'm going to forget what you're going to say.
Right.
I would disconnect from that. Right. But once I got up on stage, I dealt with the fear. I just kind of let it be in there, and then I channeled it into my performance to have more enthusiasm.
Right. It's interesting you said that because, as I told you when we were introduced, I'm a musician, so I go out and play all the time. And do you know I still get butterflies in my stomach?
As good as you are, I'm sure you're extremely talented.
Every time, and that's something no one's known until now. So I don't want any text messages about that or anything. But yeah, and it was just recently I was playing at the Capitol Bar in Fort Worth with a band. Studio 54 is the name of the band, by the way. And we were playing there, and right before I went on stage, they just got these butterflies in my stomach, and I was like, wow. I've been playing since I was a kid, 17 years old, and I still get this before I go play on any stage. But as you were saying, I didn't really realize I was doing this until you just mentioned it. But then I took that thing and I turned that thing into a performance mechanism.
Yes.
And so I used that because I was trying to do whatever I could to fight that feeling off.
Right.
and I channeled that into, okay, now it's time to kick it in. You know, you gotta give these people a good show. And you mentioned that with the athletes, and it didn't make any sense.
Well, and musicians,
to me.
I'm glad you brought that up, because now I always seem to revert back to just talking about sports, but yeah, definitely musicians and performers, or, you know, but just really in everyday life. If you can learn how to allow it, befriend it, and channel it into your performance. You know, the interesting thing about fear is that the tighter that you hold on to, or try to fight it, and hold on to the feeling that you can't do what's important to you or live by your values until it goes away, the more stuck you're going to be. And it actually increases fear. When you try to fight fear, what you resist persists. And when you try to fight it, it leads to fear about your fear, anxiety about your anxiety, and nerves about your nerves.
So how do you embrace it? How do you embrace that fear then to use that for something positive, or to build that confidence that we're talking about, and especially that confidence that sticks?
Well, it helps first just to know that and my encouragement to you and anybody else that's listening or watching, is that when you feel that, it's not a sign that there's anything wrong with you. It's a sign that you're normal. You're a normal human being.
Right.
Okay? And so there's, you know, we do get into that in my step 4 about how to feel effort, give it room. One of the ways, a good way to explain it is, let's say that this cup is full of salt. Okay? And we'll say the salt represents fear. Okay. Your fear. Now, if this was a glass of water, and I poured all that salt into that water and I stirred it up, and I took a sip of that, it's not going to taste very good, is it? No, it's going to be very bitter. So it's very concentrated. Right. So what I want to do is give it more space. If I took a cup of salt and I poured it, say, this is still wouldn't probably be very good in here, but you're going to have a lot more water. Right. All right, so imagine pouring a cup of salt into a swimming pool. Okay. Now are you going to really taste it? Probably wouldn't. No. And it's about giving it space. Okay. Letting it be. Okay. Getting it space. I say befriending it also. Sometimes if I'm feeling it in my stomach, I'll actually, if this is where I'm feeling it, I'll just kind of put my hand there. And, calm down. Yeah. Allow it, befriend it, and then channel it into your performance. Okay. And then step 5 is kind of taking all the 4 previous steps, recapping, putting it all together into a confidence that sticks. Confidence that sticks. I love that. I love that, ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear that? I wanted to. One of the things I said I was going to talk to you about was, you mentioned something about the confidence, the overall confidence, appearance, and whatnot. It's funny. I was one of those people that did not go to college and did not get my education immediately after college, after high school, because I had so much confidence in myself. I had all this confidence in myself, and I knew that, I didn't need education to succeed, and blah, 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 blah. And I came here to Texas from New York, and I immediately went into corporate America. That's where I met Angie, our friend. Oh, right. Nice. And I was a trainer there, and I quickly moved up the ladder. I was having meetings with CEOs. CEOs were coming to me asking me for advice, things like that, or with our sales force. And I attributed that to my overall manner. I was not the typical young black man at that time. I didn't go around loud. I dressed well. I spoke well. And that immediately came crashing down on me right before we had the financial crisis, 2007. It immediately came crashing down on me, and everything, all the confidence I had at that particular time left me. Because I was now faced in a situation where I needed that degree along with the outward and the verbal communication skills that I relied on so much over the past how many years. Your confidence that sticks is really interesting, because it also addresses the need to channel those fears and things like that. But I like the fact that you at first talked about also the mechanisms as well. Right. The mechanism. When I look at that now, I know the mechanism was that education part, that piece that was missing there. But now, how do you take this to a person who was like me and say, hey, all these years I've been doing well, but now I'm not doing well. I need that confidence, or maybe I have the education and I'm lacking that confidence. What is the first thing that they should do now, besides picking up your book? Besides picking up your book right there. Well, your story is one that there's been plenty of other people out there like that as well. They've felt confident, and they've gone out there and they've done things in a confident way. They've acted confident, they felt confident, and then it came crashing down. And really, at some point, that happens I think, for us all. I mean, here I go back to the athletic arena again, but let's look at, say, professional athletes who are at the top of their game, and they're probably as confident can be, and then what happens year after year? They start getting a little older, right? And some new blood starts coming in, and all of a sudden, you know, Jerry Rice, as great as he was, wasn't as great at the end as he was in the middle, was he?
Okay.
And eventually, he had to give up football. Why? Well, because he got too old, you know. And so it happens to us all. And a lot of times those guys kind of deal with that sort of thing. There's a kind of a crash effect, like, man, I used to be so confident. Now what am I going to do with myself? And you kind of experience that. And that's why I like, you know, a confidence that sticks, because it doesn't mean that you get it and it's there permanent, it's there forever. But what it means is that you can always you can get it back by applying certain techniques and doing certain things and realizing, oh, okay, I did lose it, but I can get it back. And it's kind of like just the ups and downs of life. You know? And
then I just moved that confidence to something different. I'm no longer able to play football, but now I have that confidence to start 5 or 10 businesses. Or teach other people to play football as well as I did, something like that.
There's 3 real keys to lasting confidence. Number 1 is having an effective way to handle your negative thoughts and feelings. That's what I teach in my class.
Write these down.
An effective way to handle your negative thoughts and feelings. Number 2 is to have the ability to take control of your actions even when your thoughts and feelings are negative and uncomfortable. That's a powerful psychological skill. If you can still do what is in line with your values and what's important to you, even when your mind is telling you no, you can't, and you don't feel it, that's a powerful psychological skill. And 3 is being in the moment, learning how to be in the moment.
In the moment.
Engaging, the word escaping for that, is engaging in whatever it is that you're doing, regardless of the thoughts and feelings that you're having.
That's great. That's great. Todd, I want to thank you for being on our show today. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, the name of the book again is right there. It is Tired of Having It, but Not Using It. Hey, go ahead and pick this book up. Todd, where can they get your book again?
They can go to my website. It's todd-thomas.com. /book. And don't forget the dash in between Todd and Thomas. todd-thomas.com/book. And anybody that is on this and watching it today, they can find, can I say where they can find me on Facebook?
Definitely,
you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/it's Todd Thomas. So ITS, and it's just my name. And if you'll let me know that, if you'll like my page, that'd be great. And message me and let me know that you watched it and that you appreciated the show. I will knock off $5 from the cover price and send it to you free shipping.
Wow. Okay.
Free shipping as well.
There needs to be a lot of orders on this. Okay. There needs to be a lot of orders on this. Hey, this will make a great gift for someone else you know. Maybe your young children that are going off to school. Maybe not going off to school, but it make a good gift even if you're not going to use it for yourself. But I don't think that this is something that any of us cannot use. This is something that we can all use. Just having that confidence, and not just confidence for today, but that confidence that sticks. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. Have a great day.
Thank you.